Continuing with the refurbishment of the Marconi set, my lockdown project, I've turned my attention to the cabinet, and I'd hoped to get away with not completely refinishing the cabinet, but when I studied it, there'd been someone, a previous owner presumably, had been in the habit of resting a mug of tea on here, and that had badly affected the varnish on the top, and also there was water damage in the top of the cabinet here too, which left big craters in the original varnish finish, or the lacquer finish. So I bit the bullet in the end and have been using nitromorph stripper on the cabinet to bring it all back to untreated wood finish. It works very well, nitromorph, in stripping cabinets like this, but it's messy and it stinks. The actual product is much less aggressive than it used to be. I can remember nitromorphs, if you got it on your skin, it used to burn like heck. It doesn't seem to burn like it did, and the odour from it isn't as obnoxious and pungent as it used to be. It still smells the same, but it's not as strong as it used to be. Anyway, by the by, I've now reduced the cabinet back, say, to a white wood finish, as it were. Now, of course, cabinets were always important for the HMV Marconi lines. They took great pride in the cabinets, and HMV EMI cabinets, right from the early gramophone days, always had a lot of time, energy and quality invested in them. Radio cabinets generally made of plywood, and in line with fashion of the day, are veneered with a variety of fancier woods. But as time went on, and bear in mind this set I think is a 1940s set, corners began to be cut, and a little bit like, you know, in cars with leather seats, to cheapen it they would do the back of the seat and the sides of the seat in vinyl, and just the face of the seat itself, seat squab, in the back with leather. A similar sort of thing happened in the radio industry with cabinets. So we've got some nice walnut veneer on these nice shaped curved surfaces, some very attractive veneer here, but the sides of the cabinet are just plain plywood with a cheap surface, and all these areas on the inside edges are in the same plain white plywood finish. So the way that this was dealt with when the cabinets were originally made was that a dark cellulose lacquer was applied to these white areas to darken them right down, and then a plain cellulose lacquer was applied to the fancy veneers. Except actually in this set there was a plain lacquer on the shoulders and a darker lacquer applied to the centre sections to provide some contrast. Now, I'm not good at French polishing. I have tried it in the past with mixed success. That's a fraught with technical difficulties for the inexperienced person. I'm not equipped to respray cabinets in cellulose lacquer, so I'm going to finish it with Danish oil. Danish oil produces a very pleasing result. Bear in mind, this set was probably destined for a skip if I hadn't rescued it, so I'm not going to get hung up about being original. But I shall have to do something to darken down these areas of pale wood. Now, I could apply a stain, but if I do that, I run the risk of the stain leaching into the end grain of these veneers, which I don't want to happen. So I am going to do some experiments with some white spirit just to see how the cabinet and how the veneers react to the application of a lacquer see what colours are likely to emerge from a plain lacquer, and then formulate a plan. The other thing I've got to do here is there are some wormholes in here. You see them there. Now, fortunately, this set has not been badly affected by a worm. This is the only evidence of it. There's no evidence of wormholes on the inside, and I'm pleased to have noticed that no fresh flight holes have appeared this year. So, as I had suspected, this worm is old. It's an old infestation. There's nothing active there. Now, of course, cabinets were also finished by a brown paint stroke lacquer applied to some of these areas underneath. I've not stripped that back, and actually when the set's repolished you hardly notice them anyway, so I shall probably just tidy them up. Okay, so when I've made some more progress with it, I shall issue the next instalment of this gripping series. Don't hold your breath though.